Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. I'm David, your host, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a comparison between the GT Cut Academies to the GT Cut 3s. And starting things off, when it comes to the fit, they both are pretty similar overall. The length and the width, I found it to be really nice and conform to my foot. It's a pretty standard fit overall, and it was very maneuverable when it comes to moving my toes in the footbed overall. So you can't go wrong with either shoe when it comes to the fit. In the Academies, I went true to size, while in the GT Cut 3s, I had to go down half a size. So be mindful of that when you are getting a pair. In the Academies, if you have a narrow foot, go down half a size, while wide foot can go up half a size. In the Cut 3s, go down half a size in my case. If you have a wide foot, I would go true to size, and for narrow foot, I would go down a full size as well. So if you guys are interested in either pair, they are available on Nike's website. The Academies are going for $95, while the GT Cut 3s are going for $190. So literally, you can get two GT Cut Academies for the price of one GT Cut 3s. So if you guys are interested in either pair, I will leave links in the description box below. When it comes to the traction, both shoes perform pretty similarly in my experience. In the GT Cut 3s, I did have to break them in a little bit because it started to slide when I started playing in them. But once you do, both traction patterns are pretty much the same with this aggressive herringbone pattern. And it performed really well when it came to lateral and vertical movements. They felt pretty quick and pretty sudden overall. Felt that the hard stops were stopping on a dime in my opinion, and you get really quick first steps as well. And side-to-side movement was pretty much identical. When it came to hard stops and quick first steps, the GT Cut 3s were slightly better. On a dusty setting, they're pretty much identical also. They do collect a little bit of dust, and with a quick wipe, you should be good to go afterwards. And when it comes to durability, the GT Cut Academies performed a little bit better compared to the GT Cut 3s. And the GT Cut 3s, this translucent outsole is a little bit more flimsy compared to the Academies, and you do get some wear in the high wear areas. While in the Academies, I didn't experience any wear, just a little bit in the high wear areas. So overall, you can't go wrong with either shoe when it comes to the traction. But overall, the traction on the GT Cut 3s is slightly better in my opinion. Now, when you get into the cushioning, surprisingly, the forefoot cushioning in both shoes felt very identical when it came to the overall bounce that you're getting and the responsiveness as well. They were super responsive in my opinion, and they were really bouncy right off the jump on each shoe. With the GT Cut Academies, it is a air zoom unit in the forefoot, while you're getting Zoom X foam as well as a bottom loaded shank that gives it that springy like feel. In the Academies, it doesn't have a shank, which is surprising enough that both shoes feel really bouncy identically overall. So I was really surprised by that. And when you move into the heel, they're both pretty comfortable. However, in the GT Cut 3s, the Zoom X foam is a little stiff at first, but once you break it in and start to mold it down, it becomes really comfortable, and it is as mushy as the GT Cut Academies in that respect. And the impact protection overall was pretty good, and the heel strikes were very nice as well. However, when it comes to longevity, I feel like the Academies will bottom out a little more quickly compared to the Zoom X foam. When it comes to React foam, as you keep wearing it down, it does start to bottom out over time. So that is my only gripe when it comes to the cushioning in the GT Cut Academies. And when it came to the overall fluidity of both shoes, they're pretty much identical as well. They're very fluid going up and down the court, and you're also very fast on top of that. So overall, playmaking when it comes to going up and down the court felt pretty much the same, and felt very light under my foot also. So I really enjoyed both shoes when it came to that. However, when it comes to overall cushioning, I'll take the GT Cut 3s over the GT Cut Academies, mainly due to the longevity of the cushion that you're going to get in the Academies. It won't be as long lasting as the GT Cut 3s in my opinion. As far as materials go, both shoes feel really comfortable overall. When it came to the forefoot, it is really nice and conformed around your foot, and it flexes really well to your foot. That way you won't experience any pinching. While when you move into the tongue, it's also pretty comfortable as well. You don't experience any pinching as well. You do get slightly more padding in the Academies compared to the GT Cut 3s. And when you get to the heel, there is some decent padding as well, and it feels pretty much identical when it comes to that. And as far as aesthetics go, I think the Academies look a little bit better compared to the GT Cut 3s. In my opinion, the GT Cut 3s, they went a little crazy with the hole puncher. From what I have seen so far, you get a bunch of holes all around the shoe, as well as on the tongue itself. You don't get as much holes in the Academies, but it does sort of match that vibe. And in my opinion, the materials are slightly better in the GT Cut 3s, which is kind of disappointing because the GT Cut Academies are literally half the cost of the GT Cut 3s, in my opinion. And they aren't that far off when it comes to the overall build. But all in all, in my opinion, they both get the job done, and they're both pretty comfortable overall. So when you move into the lockdown in the forefoot, they're pretty much identical because of the one-to-one standard fit that you're going to get. It is really nice and conforms well to your foot, and you don't get any dead space inside of the footbed area in the forefoot. And when you move into the midfoot, you're pretty much harnessed in with the lacing system that you have with the panels on the GT Cut 3s, as well as the leather panels on the Academies. You're pretty much harnessed and clamped down in the midfoot, and you don't move at all inside the midfoot area. And when you move into the heel, I find it to be a little bit better in the Academies because of the extra lace loops that you have that helps harness the heel a little bit more. In the GT Cut 3s, I did experience a little bit of heel slippage compared to the Academies, where I didn't experience any heel slippage at all. So all in all, it is really good. However, I'm going to give it a slight edge to the GT Cut Academies when it comes to the overall lockdown. And lastly, when you move into the support, this is where the biggest discrepancy lies between these shoes, because in the GT Cut 3s, it is really good overall, while in the GT Cut Academies, it's just borderline okay, due to the lack of lateral support that you're going to get from the side profile standpoint. There is no sloping arch when it comes to the midsole. It's pretty much a flat line when it comes to that. So when it comes to dealing with an uneven surface, it is going to give way really easily, and it resulted in me getting an ankle sprain because of that. And when it came to the torsional support, because there is no shank, it is very easy to fold, and you're going to lose balance really easily in this. And in the heel, there is lateral support from the TPU shank that you're going to get, but it is very minimal, and that is literally all you're going to get when it comes to heel support. And overall rigidity of the shoe, it's really easy to fold and contort, so overall torsional support isn't really good in that respect. But on a flat surface, it is pretty good because you get a nice flat base under your foot. Just be mindful that if you are on a slightly angled surface, it is pretty much going to give out, and your ankle will be rolled really easily. While in the GT Cut 3s, it has a nice flat base and a really sloped out midsole that has really good lateral support from this plastic piece that you get that wraps on top of the material here. And the overall material itself does not give out also, so it is really good when it comes to the lateral support. And torsional rigidity is really good because of the shank plate that you're going to get from the forefoot and extends to the midfoot as well. And the overall shoe is pretty rigid and pretty stable overall. And in the heel, you also get a TPU heel counter that helps prevent the heel from moving side to side, and it is overall pretty stable in my opinion, and it is very easy when it comes to choosing the GT Cut 3s over the GT Cut Academies when it comes to the support. So to sum it all up, guys, the GT Cut 3s and the GT Cut Academies are very similar in my opinion, but I would pick the GT Cut 3s over the GT Cut Academies, mainly due to the support, or the lack of support when it comes to the GT Cut Academies. It is more stable overall in my opinion, and if money isn't an issue for you guys, I would pick the GT Cut 3s over the GT Cut Academies, even though it costs twice as much in the GT Cut 3s compared to the Academies. Mainly because of the support that you're getting in the GT Cut 3s is really nice and balanced, while it is just borderline okay in the Academies. But if money is an issue, I wouldn't recommend either of them because it is a little too expensive in my opinion. Because of that, due to the materials that you're getting, it isn't that much of a difference when it comes to that. But overall, when it comes down to it, when it comes to overall performance, I will pick the GT Cut 3s mainly because of the support factor overall. Thank you guys for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Comment down below on what you think of the GT Cut 3s and the GT Cut Academies, what you think is better overall in your personal opinion. Any experiences you have had if you sprained your ankle when it comes to either shoes, I'd like to know your thoughts on that, as well as any other questions that you might have as well. If you guys are interested in both of the reviews of these shoes, I will leave it on each side of the screen right here. And if you want to stay tuned to other videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below, and it will greatly support the channel as well. If you'd like to stay in touch with me via social media, I will leave all of the information in the description box below as well. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys on choosing between the GT Cut 3s and the GT Cut Academies. And until next time, keep shooting.